Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz Interview Series with LA-based award-winning jazz vocalist Tawanda. She opened up about her debut, the new 2022 CD called Smile. This is the first album by one of the most promising young jazz singers to emerge in years. She was born in Las Cruces, New Mexico, to a German-born mother and a father from Mozambique. Tawanda spent her school years honing her vocal gifts in school musicals and choirs. Jazz entered her life at 18 when she enrolled in Santa Fe University of Art and Design. Everything's gone up from there. She talks about all of this and so much more. Enjoy the interview.
Hey, thanks for taking a minute out today for the show. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Before we get into your new album, I want to know, as an artist, and I know just the world of musicians, especially the jazz community, was rocked pretty hard by COVID, and we're coming out of it now. How did you survive that 2-year period, and how has it subsequently changed the way that not only you live your life, but approach your craft?
Ooh, wow, that's a great first question. Yes, I think it was a combination of a lot of different things. I did have a wonderful partner who helped guide me through. I was able to go home for about 3 months during the height of it, which was very wonderful. So I was able to go home to New Mexico, to the desert, where things felt a little bit more spread out as compared to the density of LA, which was nice to kind of just recharge and be with my loved ones. And then, of course, this project that we're going to talk a little bit about today, and singing and performing was really what helped me kind of step up and show up. And I think without those opportunities, things would have looked very different for me. It was very hard to find, like so many other people, I lost my job, and so it was very hard to kind of navigate this world that was increasingly more confusing and feel like the future is kind of unknown. And so if I didn't have something to wake up for every day, to have that bit of purpose, I think, things would have looked very, very different for me. And of course I was in therapy, which was very helpful as well. So just kind of looking at all the ways that I could show up in my life.
Well, the one thing before we get to your new album, Smile, is that you had kind of an eventful beginning or part of the pandemic. You were part of the Sarah Vaughan competition, and you were the winner in 2020. That had to be a huge bit of confidence and a really big vault for you in your career.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It's a beautiful competition, and it's honoring the legacy of one of the world's finest jazz vocalists. And so that was a huge honor. And luckily, it was held in 2021. So we were about a year out of it at that point, which felt better. And the submission was, online in 2020. So it felt a little safer by that point, but it was nice to be back in New Jersey this year to see this year's annual Sarah Vaughan Vocal Jazz Competition, and they did perform in front of a sold-out crowd, so it was so beautiful to witness that this year.
So I remember interviewing Michelle Coltrane at one point, and Alice had moved the family to LA, I believe, somewhere on the coast, because they were used to New York. They were used to the East Coast. And she told me a story about one day seeing Sarah Vaughan ride by on a bike, and I've never been able to take that picture out of my head.
Whoa. I love that.
And she just was like, wow, that's Sarah Vaughan riding a bike, and it's like sometimes I'll have people paint these vestiges of these legendary people, like Jack McDuff eating an ice cream, and it's just like, wow, it's the penultimate of that Norman Rockwell painting. But at any rate, this was obviously, winning this competition was obviously a great precursor to your album, Smile. This has to feel quite good to be able to have this coming out right now. I mean, there's a lot of albums that I got all the way through the pandemic, but I think the crop that are coming out right now, there's something special because we're not in that point where things aren't opening up and we don't know what's going on. Live shows are happening. Things are going in a different way than they ever were before. So what kind of relief is that to be coupled with that?
Well, it's a great honor. And I feel like it's really exciting to kind of celebrate this, what feels like, things finally, I wouldn't say returning back to normal, but I would say they're definitely progressing in a way that seems a little bit less scary or confusing. I'm not sure we'll ever get that same feeling of normalcy, because I think coupled with that is kind of this the mentality that we had before just seems so different. I think we're really like transitioning into something new and fresh. But yeah, it's truly an honor to be, as you said, kind of among those special albums that are being released now that have probably been worked on over the past few years. And I have George Claben of Resonance Records to thank for that. He really, supported and led this entire process. So, I have all the thanks to give to him.
So for something that's so long awaited like this, you only get so many songs, so many different ways of capturing the essence of your release. How did you put this together? How did you artistically stitch this album together?
Yeah, I would say that this is truly more of, it wasn't, I feel, I'm excited to kind of have more creative control over albums moving forward. I think this was really heavily influenced by the producer, which was a wonderful thing. I think that I really needed and was looking for that leadership in this process. So we worked together kind of selecting the songs. He would kind of make suggestions, and he gave me so many songs and so much to listen to over those years, because I'm still, I feel like I'm finally leaning out of a novice and into a little bit more of like, okay, I'm starting to be more of a professional, and I think I know what I'm doing now. I think I've changed a lot since we first started recording the album, which is great. But he would kind of suggest tunes or just have me listen to songs and say, what do you think about this? This is what I like about this one. And these are some beautiful things that jazz vocalists and jazz musicians are emulating. And so it was a beautiful learning moment for me as well. And then it came down to a final selection. And then, and then we had Tamir Hendelman and Josh Nelson arrange these beautiful songs, and it just kind of they took on lives of their own after that.
Talk to me a little bit about your beginnings. We all have the seeds in the beginning that grow into who we are. How did this jazz music singing journey begin for you? Yeah,
it started. Well, I was always kind of like I was always singing throughout elementary school and middle school and high school, and we started getting into show tunes, which, were mostly tunes from the Great American Songbook, and also a lot of Broadway songs by Gershwin and so on and so forth. And we were doing that in high school, and at that time I didn't really realize, this is jazz music. This is one of the greatest musical contributions from Black people in this country. It never really was clear to me in high school, but when I moved into college, and I think things started getting a little bit more political, but also more, I just fostered an even greater understanding of the world around me. And up until that point, I was singing a lot of choir music and my own original kind of like indie music. And And then there was this opportunity to take voice lessons with Mirabai Daniels, who is the partner of Eddie Daniels, who's a world-renowned clarinetist. And she really took me out of the box that I was in and showed me, this is improvisation. Like, this is speaking directly from your heart. This is like your expression, and everybody sounds different and everyone uses different things. And it's like, how can you sing these lines in a completely different way? No two lines are the same, just like snowflakes, And I was like, and so it was such a struggle in the beginning, and I remember being so frustrated because I think I was used to, up until that point, playing it very safely and being very comfortable and not really embellishing as much. So yeah, from college, I think I started lessons in 2014 until now. And so that was really when my relationship with jazz began, and I started to really understand what I was doing and why I was doing it and where it came from. And it's, such an honor to be here today, kind of carrying forth that legacy, and being able to do it is such a thing I'm grateful for. So yeah, I've always had music within me, but I came from a background of world music. I didn't grow up with jazz music, and my family they're not musicians. So a lot of this has been kind of forging my own path and kind of like carrying the mantles that have been handed down through me through music, like Sarah Vaughan, for example. I feel like she paved the way for many of us, especially black women in jazz, and vocalists specifically. So yeah, that was how I started.
So what was the first live jazz show you saw that blew you away, that made you think that might be something you would want to do?
Oh gosh. That's a great question. I've seen a lot of shows throughout my life. I think I knew I wanted to do jazz, or not jazz, but I knew I wanted to be a singer since I was incredibly young. And we would go to a lot of concerts and like symphony orchestra stuff, or would watch different kind of, like world-renowned musicians come through our small town. And I had some singers in the friend group as well. But first jazz performance, wow, that didn't come until after I was studying jazz. So I think I chose to do this. I chose to sing this music long before I had really seen anyone kind of like perform it in the way I do now. But I think that love for this music was definitely inspired by all of the musicians that I've seen live up till that point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is it that motivates you, that makes you enjoy being a professional musician so much? What do you look forward to the most?
For me, it's really the connection, and it's also really, it's an extremely sacred thing for me to be able to tell these stories and for people to listen and resonate with them. I think it's very sacred. I think that it is something that humans have been doing and sharing and using to connect for billions. I mean, since we were in the Stone Age, basically, it's just this idea of like giving and receiving information and telling stories and documenting our lives, that goes back so far. And it's something that's so beautiful that we're still being able to share today. And, it's funny that there's been like this increase of AI technology, artificial intelligence technology, and how they're starting to like paint and, and then they maybe in the future will be able to create these songs that are so formulaic and and I just feel so grateful to be able to be doing this now. I think it's really important for human beings to connect in person in spaces that are, known for fostering that connection. And it's always such a blast to meet people after the shows and just talk to them human to human, and to meet people I normally maybe would have never met. And so that's the biggest reason why I do this and why it fills me with so much love and joy. It's the community aspect of it.
The one thing about talking to artists about albums is by the time you start really talking about it, you've moved on to the next project. So I'm curious for you, as far as recorded projects or live shows, what are you looking at as we head towards the end of 22 and going into next year in 2023?
Yeah, there's a few things in the works. I'll be working with Herb Jordan, who is he's an award-winning writer and composer on some songs that have been previously worked on from Andy Bay. And so that is work that I'm really respecting and taking my time with. And so we'll be in the studio sometime next year. And I'm also working on getting back into songwriting, which is something that's really exciting for me. So as the year winds down and maybe there aren't as many performances happening at the end of the year, I'm really focusing on using my time now to write more music and hopefully write more. I want to collaborate with more jazz musicians and write some jazz music, and I also want to try to write some more original music and just kind of flex that muscle a little bit more, because I think that is another gift that I have. But in, the past few years, it kind of atrophied because it was a very kind of personal, intimate practice that I kind of just let go of. So I'm excited to do that again. And yeah, every here and there, we're popping in, plugging shows for next year. I keep getting little messages from my manager, hold this date or working on this date, and hopefully I'll get to Europe soon as well. I have family there, and it would be such a blast to perform there and be home in a way as well. So yeah, right now I think I'm just trying to perform as often as I can and have a few recording opportunities on the back burner as well, and then focus on my original music too. So we're doing all of those things at the same time.
Wonderful. So everyone out there has a perception of who they think you are, your family, your friends, your fans, but ultimately you're in control of your life. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Who do I think I am? I love this question. Thank you for asking that. I think it's really so important to ask those questions, especially to I don't know, I feel like young artists and also female artists too, because I think, there's a lot of performing, and it's a lot of walking around in these male dominated spaces, and then you're kind of building this persona or something. Sometimes I feel like that, but I feel like I love that question. It's something that I'm still in the process of reclaiming. I think during COVID, a big part of me kind of shut down, and I shifted into the survival mode. So I'm still working on undoing that and peeling back the layers of protection to just reveal this most authentic me that I am. But I would say that, I'm a hippie girl. I'm a little brassy. I'm as honest as I can be. I have such a deep love for the earth that we inhabit. I respect it. I am such a fan of, I really appreciate human connection. I'm just trying to move ever further in that direction of just honesty and authenticity, and also this like sacred gifts that artists and creators have been given to create these safe spaces to connect with others. I think that's like the main reason that we're here. And I also think the main reason that we're here is to delve ever further into who we are. And I'm the first to admit that I will be making mistakes, and I will be trying out things that might seem like dark and scary and different, because that's who I feel like I am. It's just this being who is put here for a limited time, and I really want to experience a wide range of experiences. And I think that it is building up this incredible being who is able to then kind of, what's the word, like navigate the world better. I think intensely creative people can navigate the world better, can navigate it in the best way. And it's not, about what you have. It's not about the resources you have, but it's how you have expanded your mind to be creative in every situation or in every moment of life. So that's what I aspire to be. So I feel like I am definitely on that path. And thank you for asking that question again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this has been great. Tawanda, thank you for opening up today. Thank you for your time. Good luck with everything. And, with the end of the year coming up, the holidays in 2023, good luck with everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you. Take it easy and happy holidays.
You too.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players and singers in L.A., New Mexico, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to Tawanda for her time, energy, and class. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile.
Neon Jazz.